Hi, everybody. If you were listening to our words a little bit before this webinar, we're all talking about our technology challenges today. So, we should do the technology prayer, tell me technology work. All right, there we go. Now we're covered. We're doing a webinar today on making words. What is it and why do we do it? And it is so important. We figured that we should be covering this. I am Susan Norwell, educational specialist and co-founder of Rett University. And my partner in crime is...
My name is Courtney Barnum, and I'm an educational consultant, there's my words, and a prior special education teacher and a sibling as well.
There we go. So I'm a sibling too, but I'm not a sibling of somebody with Rett. She is a sibling of somebody who had Rett, so that carries a little more weight than the regular sibling. Why don't you start here, Courtney?
Learning about word work from Susan and being trained by Susan, and when I saw this, I was just like, I love this because one of my favorite books to read is Out of My Mind by Sharon Draper, which is about a book about a young lady who has a low incidence disability, and everything is based on, her world is surrounded by words, and it doesn't come out until she has a device that she can talk with. And having a nonverbal sister myself, words have magic. I really to me, they just have there's so much power in words. So when I saw this, words cast spells, that's why it's called spelling. Words are energy used wisely. I love that quote because I think when you grow up with a sister who is nonverbal, you really learn how to listen without words. And then when being able to work with the girls and boys that we work with and hearing their words come out and the things they get to say, and it's absolutely magical. So word work, the purpose of teaching working with words is very simply to help students become strategic in their reading words, help students learn high frequency words needed for fluency, successful reading with comprehension. We don't want just reading, we want successful reading with comprehension. Teaching students the skills required to decode and spell words they will use for reading and writing, and help our students understand how words work. And it is so extremely important for our kiddos to have that word work. I have seen it myself, again, after being trained by Susan and watching my girls and boys grow in their learning. And as they're learning these words, it is so amazing to watch them grow in their words.
And if we don't do making words, if we don't really work this decoding system, and I will tell you that we're going to talk about using Making Words by Dorothy Cunningham and who's the other one?
Dorothy Hall and Patricia Cunningham.
Dorothy Hall and Patricia Cunningham. There, I thought I would get that right eventually. Thank you, Courtney. In my early work when I was in private practice with nonverbal kids with autism, I started using this system, and by George, even though everybody said they would only learn sight words and could not learn to decode, everybody except one of my people with autism all learned how to decode. So when I started seeing more and more kids with Rett, I thought, this has got to be the way that we're going to do this, is teach them to learn the decoding process and what this whole word thing is about. There are a lot of patterns in the English language. There are some weird ones, like if you have an R, the only thing that comes after an R is a vowel. That's very helpful if we teach those specific skills as we're teaching letter combinations, so that when they're spelling and they have an R, they know they just need to go through A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y to figure out what comes next. But if they don't start moving the letters around to make the words, and we have systemized ways of them being able to move them around without having to use their hands, of course. But this particular program works, and I would be lost without it, and I could name about a lot of girls and boys who would be lost without it also. So how do we teach word work? We use something called Making Words. I just said it, by Patricia Cunningham and Dorothy Hall. And Patricia Cunningham was also, and her husband Jim Cunningham were like the forerunners in looking at the 4-block model of reading. One of the blocks being word work. They are going to make words with a closed set of letters. They're going to sort and transfer words. They first sort by initial sounds, then they sort by rhymes. And then they transfer what they have learned in a word to create a new word. And so when you look at the hierarchy of learning, the highest hierarchy in terms of learning something, the lowest being copying, but the highest being able to take what you've learned and apply it somewhere else. That's how you know that somebody really understands something. And so this is really an important quote by Karen Erickson. She says, students who read only by sight or the recognition of sight words are not likely to read text with comprehension above very beginning levels. To achieve successful reading with comprehension, students must have the ability to decode unfamiliar words. And so all of the work that I saw in my early career with kids with autism being taught fire extinguisher, because they thought that was really important, as if you need to read fire extinguisher to know what it is. And as if we really want them breaking something open to use a fire extinguisher. That was the other funny thing about that. And yet people said, it's just too hard to learn cat, bat, sat, and rat. I'm like, really? We're teaching them fire extinguisher and you think cat, hat, bat, and rat are really hard? So I think people just gave up because they didn't know what to do. And really there's no excuse now to say I don't know what to do, because we have a whole course on it. We model this with our kids. We send videos to schools, and we're doing a free webinar. So, making words. The steps. Every lesson in making words has a set pattern. It has a script. Every 10 lessons has a script at the beginning, the first lesson of the 10, so that even teachers, people that aren't trained teachers, parents, can do making words without a lot of training. It's the how they do it, not following the curriculum itself. Following the curriculum is really easy. So you're making words using a closed set of letters. So you might have all these letters, B, L, A, S, and T, because blast is the final word. We set them up so they're vowel-led, vowel at the beginning, and then the rest of the letters in alphabetical order. And as you make these words, you start combining these letters into more and more complex words, as, at. Make the word bat, change the first letter, make it say sat, change the O, make the word bat. Turn those letters around, use these same letters and make the word tab. So you make the word last, you make the word blast. So you're building these words across the situation, starting with 2-letter words, 3-letter words, 4-letter, 5-letter words. I have some kids now that are making, like 10-letter, 11-letter words, because they're like in less than 72 out of 100. Then they start sorting the words by beginning sounds. And what that is so important. And I think some of the kids sometimes get a little bored by it. But I will tell you that we have a lot of kiddos that have a bit of visual discrimination processing issues. So that an H and an N might look really similar. Getting that B and that D sorted out as to which one it is, because they haven't had that much experience with letters and sounds. Right around the time parents are doing the ABC song with their kids and giving them ABC puzzles that they put in, and people talk to them about the letters, our kids are losing their hand skills. And so the last thing parents are thinking about is, how am I going to teach them the alphabet? I mean, it's just not on their radar. They're trying to think about, what am I going to do with this kid who's now stopped talking and stopped using their hands? So they really need some direct instruction on that. Then we move to sorting by ending sounds, which are the rhyming sounds, which really help kids to see the whole word. Now we're not just looking at the beginning of the word, we're looking at the end of the word, and we're seeing patterns in words that we can use in the transferring of words to make new words. Now, that being said, the graphic that Courtney has over here, I have had to use for some kids, because when they get into the rhyming, some of them really struggle with it initially. And I might say to them, okay, I'm going to give you the word and I'm going to give you the word at. Now, you tell me which one we're going to need to make the word bat. Okay, we need this one, and I give them the AT, and they just have to give me the beginning sound. And that's actually built into the lessons here, that you go from just having to put the beginning sound on the rhyme to having to spell the whole word with a complete alphabet, like the ABC cookbook. But sorting this way can really help kids that might be struggling with, what are you asking me to do? And it can be really, really helpful. All right, Courtney, let's hear about Hallie.
Oh, if you want to, there we go. All right, so this is Hallie. Hallie is one of my girls, and she is in kindergarten, and we are just starting to beginning word work with her. We're actually using the first grade book because she is a repeating kindergartner, so I'm just going to kind of put that out there because she's already gotten really good with her word sounds and things like that. So her ending word sounds. So we wanted word families. That's the word I was looking for. So we wanted to go ahead and get her.
So I'm going to bump you in because you just said something. I actually use making words first grade with all my kindergartners because they have shoved, since they wrote this book, they have shoved first grade down into kindergarten.
Exactly.
So kids are actually having to make the words that we have in the first grade book, at least up to the 3 and 4 letter words, and then we can model the rest of them. But I start my kids in kindergarten, and I teach them the letters and sounds that go with each of the lessons.
Right.
So each 10 lessons has a group of sounds that are going to keep, spiraling through, and that we can focus on those to give them some more individual. So that made me.
Yes, and one of the things I wanted to say when we give them the closed set of letters, we always do the vowel in a different color. So that the vowel is a separate color. Usually I use like a bright yellow because as we get into higher and bigger words, we teach the kiddos that each syllable of a word has a vowel in it. And so they have to look for that color, as we're getting into those bigger words, we want to look for those vowels in there. So we are working on not only having her remember the sounds, but blending the sounds in her head and building her confidence in her ability. She knows them, but she still every once in a while kind of gets a little like, oh, wait a second, I'm not sure. And so we're just kind of moving through this and getting her to do this. And so this is her working, and this is us making the word. So very first introduction. So Susan, if you can play that, please.
Sat. Now, sat is when you go, I'm going to go to my verbs, and you take the word sit, and you're talking about in the past. I sat on the chair. All right, so I want you to think about those sounds that you hear. Sat. I wonder, Miss Hallie, I wonder if I should put this sound right here for that beginning sound in sat. I know you're ready. I wonder if we should put this sound right here. Yes or no? I like how you came to middle. No. Okay, I wonder if we should put this sound here for sat. Seems like she's getting... All right, Miss Hallie, I wonder if we should put this sound for the beginning sound of sat. Yes or no? No. Very good. I like how you just kind of like look away or look down like, no, that's not the sound we need, Courtney. Wonder if this is the first sound that we need in sat. Yes or no? Okay. I wonder if we need this sound at the beginning of sat. Yes or no? No. She's like, I can still show my sassy even without a device. Thank you very much. I wonder if we need this sound for the beginning sound in sat. Yes or no? I'm going to wait for you to come to middle, my love. Yes. You're kind of dramatic when we pause you. You're kind of dramatic. That's right. That S sound says that first sound, sat. All right, let's think about that next sound, Miss Hallie. I wonder if it should be this sound right here. Yes or no? I'm going to wait for you to come to middle. I'll wait for you. There we go. Yes, very good. Oh my goodness, I know it takes a minute to get our body together. All right, let's think about that last sound, set. And Miss Hallie, these are the letters you have left. I'm going to wait for your eyes to look, my friend. Okay, so I wonder if we should put this sound up there for set. Yes or no? I'm going to wait for you to come to middle. Thank you. No. All right. I wonder if we should put this sound up there for set. Yes or no? I like how you were in the middle and you're taking your eyes away and you're saying no. Miss Hallie, I wonder if we should put this sound up there for set. Yes or no? I'm going to wait for you to come to middle. Yes. Took you a second, I know.
And I'm going to reiterate that if you notice, Courtney's not saying, look, when you've looked at the letters, then I'll ask, it's like everything's soft questioning, so it's not
now,
so many directions.
Is when you go, I'm going to go to my...
Sorry. There we go. All right. So now this is Ashley, and she is at lesson 72 of 100. So this is a little bit different realm here. This is a part of a lesson where she has to determine where the change in the word is. So as the lessons progress, the directions say to you, tell them they need to change the last letter. They need to change the first letter. But as they progress, you just have to say, change a letter to do this. Now, typical kids just move their letters around on their desk. I had to figure out how I was going to have them move the letters around. So I'm always striving to have the experience, given the research behind this particular way of teaching decoding is really significant. I want to make sure that I stay as close to their way of doing it as possible, or else our kids are not getting a fair shake at the benefit of this program. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, and I'm going to let you know, Ashley has come so far. And typically what I do, and I don't believe this is the lesson, it might be another one, but I'll preface it. Typically what I do before we start is I ask her how her eyes are that day. She does have some visual processing issues. And if she tells me they're not good, then I'll run a fake calibration. I'll do a calibration on a device that's called Test. I make up a user test. And I see where she is in her calibration. On a day where she gets a lot of greens, I know exactly that she's going to be cooking. On a day where she's barely able to make yellow because her two eyes are not doing the same thing, I know it's going to be a struggle. And you're going to see that happening for her and how we kind of talk through that in a couple. I don't think it's this video. It might be the next one. How about this one? Yes, nice job. And you know what? You're doing a really good job now of making the difference, seeing the difference between the N and the H. Because they really look a lot alike except for this thing sticking up on the H. That used to be hard for you, and now you've got it. Say, I got this now, Susan. I got this. All right, now we have to add a letter to make it say thin. Thin. Some people like thin crust pizza. Some people like thick pizza. Thin. Do we need to put the letter here for thin? Yes or no? No. All right. Let me move it over. Do we need to put the letter here for thin? Yes. All right. Do we need this letter? No. Got it, girl. Sometimes I pause, Ashley, because the camera has a little glitch. Like all of a sudden I don't see your eyes, so I have to kind of wait till I see them. It's not because you're doing a bad job. It's just because sometimes every once in a while the camera goes goofy. All right, do we need that letter for thin? Yes, nicely done. Thin, we've got that nice diagraph, it's called. That means two letters go together and they make a new sound. Thin. And so this has been a real work in progress. She really she's a really anxious kiddo, and it was really hard for her in the beginning, and now this is her favorite thing to do. But I will tell you, I had made a goal. She started the year at level D, and I had made a goal that she would get to level G. And I'm the only person doing reading with her. I see her 4 days a week. School's not doing reading with her. They're doing sight words, and they're doing some other things, but not decoding, not writing, and not reading. And she's going to more than meet her goal, and it's because she finally got calm enough during making words to really do making words. So that's cool. All right, go ahead.
Sorting words. So at the beginning, of course, we're going to sort by the beginning sounds like we've already talked about. You can sort by number of letters. You can begin to sort by the ending sounds. You got, there's different ways that you can sort. So you're not just sticking to the, okay, we're going to do the sounds. And it's funny because I actually, this is my Haley, and she's a hoot. And we have been working on making words, and this is one of the very first times that we did the sort with her. And I did a sort with her today, and we did it by, she had to add the beginning letter to the ending sound, and she did it, and she was so proud of herself today, like the smile on her face. And when she says yes, it's hard to see in the video, but when she says yes, a lot of times her little eyebrows go up. And at one point she looked at me and gave me these like two eyebrows up today, like, I got this. And it was just, she's...
Yes, he likes me.
What about the word? What about the word? I'm going to give you a silly word. Kind of a silly word. Tad. The shirt was just a tad bit too small. Tad.
Here.
Tad. I wonder if you hear that A sound at the beginning. Yes or no?
Down. How? Go. Goes. Here.
I see what you're trying to do. And you're trying to tell me no. I see you trying to get your eyes there. That's right. Okay. Well, then maybe you hear that S sound at the beginning of Tad. Yes or no?
You. You.
And you're looking. Your eyes are in the middle.
Clean.
Thank you for looking. And now you're looking away and you're telling me no. Courtney.
No.
Well, then, Miss Haley, it must be.
Turn.
I'll wait for you.
Really, did you clear your days up?
She did.
Good job, friend.
Girl, I wonder if you hear that T sound at the beginning of Tad. Yes or no?
You.
Yes, thank you for looking over. Good job, Haley.
Look at you.
So,
Haley,
is this supposed to be a sorting? I'm confused.
it was a sorting. She was sorting it by the Tad at the beginning. We were putting it under the letters.
Oh, I got it. All right, super. She's like really cute. What device is she on?
She is on. She's the one. She uses head gaze. So she uses a head gaze. It follows her head, not her eyes. And she's.
What device is it?
I don't.
Now I'm making a hard question.
I don't remember the name of it.
chat. It's touch chat, so I'm trying to figure out what the heck
It's touch chat. We're looking at eye gaze because she's very good. She's gotten very good at being very intentional with her head to make it. I mean, so intentional and letting me know, like, you stop. Like,
it's so hard.
it's hard, but she also has some words and some little bit of hand use still. So she kind of combines a little bit of everything to make her point known.
We love that about her. That's really cool. Okay, all right. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you a short section of where she is, use rhyme spelled out in the lessons. So that's supposed to say spelled out in the lessons, not rhyme spelled. She's sorting words by rhymes. And one of the things that this is so important, why this is so important, and I will tell you, she hated it at the beginning. She thought it was really stupid. She would tell me, this is stupid. I don't like it. And I said, listen, I'm going to tell you that the people who wrote this book are way smarter than I am and have done a lot of research. And they say rhyming is important. In fact, there's a ton of research that says good rhymers make good readers. So all those nursery rhymes we used to teach kids that we don't anymore, probably should get them back. But she, when I started showing her what she could do with rhymes and why they were important, it was like she stopped complaining about it. And sometimes I think for our kids that are really smart, they need to know the why. Why not? Her brother's a real why asker. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? Why should this happen? Blah, blah, blah. It's like I should not have expected anything else from her except a lot of whys, which is fine. Oh, we're going to do some more. So, Ashley, and I think this is part of her visual processing stuff, when we use the traditional yes, no, no is red, green for yes, she focused only on the green. Only on the green. So I just wrote the words on orange cards and said, here you go. And that's when her yes, no became really great. So sometimes you have to figure out what the heck is blocking them from giving you the right answer. And sometimes it's something that simple. So there we go.
We're going to do some word sorting before we go. Pretty easy stuff. I think you got this. So we've got two words, two pairs. We've got this word and this word. We've got that word, which you made yesterday, and this word, which you made yesterday. So where are we going to put this word? Are we going to put this word here? Did those two words rhyme? Yes or no? No. Okay. Do these two words rhyme? I'm waiting for you because I know it's taking you a while today to get your eyes moving. Do those two words rhyme? Yes or no? Yes. Nice job. All right. So then I've got this word. Do these two words rhyme? Yes or no? I'll wait for you. Right now you're working really hard, but you haven't moved your eyes yet. So go ahead. Atta girl. Does it rhyme over here? That was a nice yes. You just needed to relax a little. You were like so that your eyes weren't moving. How about those two? Did those two words rhyme? Yes or no? No. Super. Okay.
I'm going to point this out because I think some of us forget that the apraxia door swings both ways. In other words, she's not only having trouble getting her eyes to do what she wants them to do at this moment, but she's not getting the feedback from her eyes as to what they're actually doing. So for me to say, I see you're working so hard, but your eyes haven't moved yet. What happened then is she just moved her eyes naturally over to where she wanted them to go. If I had said, come on, look here, look there, it would have, for her, that wouldn't work. I've learned for a lot of my kids that just by labeling for them what I'm observing takes the pressure off, and it kind of makes them go, oh, I'm supposed to move my eyes. Oops, well, there I go. It's just like, it's like magic. It is like magic.
With those two, do those two words rhyme? Yes or no? No. Super.
So, and typically, depending on the kiddos, some kiddos I will have them rhyme that just only had 2 pairs, so it wasn't that hard. But some of them have
We're going to do some word starting before we go.
they have whole lists of words for you to do. And for her, I usually shorten it up because she really has it now, and I don't feel like she has to do it a million times in order to prove she knows what rhymes with what. Okay, this is transferring words. It's the final step in each and every lesson. It really shows if they can transfer the knowledge they've learned in the making words and use it someplace else. I will say that when my students are writing, I'm not too much of a red pen person, like, okay, you need to correct this, you need to correct this. And I usually try to have only one thing that they're going to fix per session. You know, I may take their writing, we may look at it over a couple of days. But if it is a word that they have made in making words that they are misspelling, I say to them, all right, I need you to look at this word because this is a word that you have made. This is a rhyme that you are familiar with, and I want you to stretch it out in your head, what word you're trying to spell. And I say, are you able to stretch it out and come up with something different than you have? If they say no, I say, okay, then I'll stretch it out. And then I stretch the word, band. I say, now you take that, so I start to hold them a little more accountable for the words that they have in making words that they should be transferring into their writing. When they're first transferring, you're transferring just the beginning sound and you're putting the rhyme there for them to just add on to it. But then what happens is they're spelling the word completely by themselves, and that's what you're seeing right here in this video.
We need A, B.
Okay, the part I left out is I would say to her, what word do we need? We're using our rhyming words from that lesson you just saw me do with the Y's and the in, and she had to sort the rhymes. And I've said to her, we have to make the word grin. What word do we need to make the word grin? She said no to Y's and yes to in. So then it sits there for her to remember what she chose.
C or D. So we're going to spell the word grin. So let me get my screen down so you're seeing the whole thing. There you go. Let me get this down. Grin. There's our word to help us. Do we need A, B, C, or D? Yes or no? No. Okay. Thank you, sweetie. Do we need E, F, G, or H? Ready? Yes or no? For grin. Yes. Do we need E? No. Okay. Do we need F? No. Do we need G? For grin. Yes. Nice job. I know. Are your eyes just giving you a lot of trouble this morning? Yes. It's okay. We're taking our time. We're not going to be in a hurry. Grin. When it takes you a while to get to your yes and no, I'm not penalizing you because I see you trying. You only get dinged when you don't try, or you give me wrong answers on purpose. When you are trying, I see your whole body is like tensing up to try and get your eyes to move. That's just your Rett. That's having a Rett day with your eyes. That's not your fault. You know the difference. When you're purposely doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, that's when Susan goes, But this, that's why we looked at your eyes. I could tell they were giving you trouble. I'm giving you more time. All right? So here's our first letter for grin. Do we need A, B, C, or D? Yes or no? No. Atta girl. Just take your time. You'll get there. Relax. Do you need E, F, G, or H? Yes or no? I'll wait for you. No. Okay. That was very cute. Do you need I, J, K, L, M, N? Yes or no? No. Atta girl. Show those eyes who's boss. Do you want an O, P, Q, R, S, T? Yes or no? Would you like Miss Carrie to give you a steady? Would that help? Let's try that and see if it'll help your eyes. Because you don't have to worry about your head, just your eyes. Okay? Let's see if that helps. Do you need an O? Yes. You need one of those. Do you need OPQ? Yes or no? No. Do you need an R? Yes. Yes. Look at that. You even knew what you needed to help you. And you're going along with it because you can see that it's helpful. You are not being a baby when you need a steady. You're just understanding what your body is giving you today. Your body's giving you a little bit of, so give you a steady, and there we go. All right, we've got the beginning. Let's finish it and make it say grin. Grin. All right, so we know that after that R, we need a vowel, right? The only thing that comes after an R is a vowel. So, do we need an A for grin? Let's give your head a steady so you're facing me. Ready? Here we go. I know. Are you feeling bad about this? Are you just a little bit frustrated? Yeah, I know. It's okay. Do we need an A? Yes or no? No. All right. Do we need an E? Yes or no? No. Okay. Do we need an I? Yes or no? I know you're being very serious. I can tell. Do you need the I?
Challenging.
It's challenging. I know. It's challenging when your eyes are not listening to you, but you're doing great. Do we need the I for grin? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Okay. Got it. Got it, got it, got it. And you know what? Here's the deal. When you do things even when it's challenging, that is brave. When you're doing things even when it's challenging and not giving up, that's brave. All right, do we need any more letters for grin? It's okay. Yes, okay. So while we're here, why don't we see if we need any of these letters, okay? Do we need I, J, K, L, M, N? Yes. Do we need I, J, K? No. Do we need L? Yes or no? Nope. Okay. Do we need M? No. Do we need N? Yes. Nicely done. See, I'm just waiting. And Miss Carrie just waiting if you need help. That's all. We're just waiting to see. And that says, all right, so does that say grin? You all finished with it? I know it's hard, sweetie. I know. I know. Today it's hard because your eyes are just being troublesome, right? But normally it's not hard. But does that say grin? Yes or no? Yes. You don't have to worry about your head. Just
Okay. So she's looked at the bat a couple of times now, and so I'm going to give her an option. One of the things we found is when she's having a hard eye day, if she gets a little steady, somebody just holding her head lightly, she then knows that she just has to move her eyes, and it really helps her. She doesn't like it because she feels like she got past this and that she's not a baby and she can hold her own head. But there are days where it really is helpful, and she said yes, it would be helpful, so that's good. And I'm trying, I think in this particular video, I'm looking at myself going, you should have been really exploring that bad descriptors a little bit more with her, but.
your eyes.
Here we go.
Okay. Let's see if that helps. Do you need an O? Yes. You need one of those. Do you need OP?
Try not to wallow too long because we can get stuck over there and those bad. But since
See, we're going to
this
spell
is
the word
also a
grin.
huge step forward for her, to have her device right there for her to use and to be able to look toward me to do a lesson to divide her attention that way, That's a real maturity thing, and she has come so far. I'm so proud of her. So this is what Making Words first grade looks like. There's a kindergarten version, which is a very different setup than this. There's a second grade version, third grade version. There's a Making Big Words, Making Bigger Words. I have one of my high schoolers doing that because it's, very big words like, disillusion, big words. So the positives are that there's 10 lessons that repeat kind of the sounds that they're mastering in those 10 lessons in all different positions. Instead of just learning B says B, it also says tab, which is very different than the B at the beginning of B. It really helps the kids learn the sounds in lots of words. There's an assessment at the end of 10 lessons. We haven't even gone into that. Probably could do a separate webinar next time. Courtney, that's what we should do. Our next webinar will be on how to do the assessment at the end of the lessons. And it really helps our students understand that they have a voice in their head that they need to use to do this. And it helps them understand how words work, but also, I think the magic, like you said, Courtney, at the beginning, the magic of words. Because if you can write, you can say anything you want. If you can't talk with your mouth, writing is the next best thing. Because you can't always find it on your device, and sometimes it's faster to write. I had just come from a lesson with this child, with Ashley, and she had been a real pistol. And my next kiddo was just working like a dog, just working so hard. And I went, this is so, makes me feel so good because Susan just had somebody who was just being really impossible, and she writes. She says, I need to say something, and I'm like, okay, do you want to tell me on your talk or do you want to write? Right. And she says, maybe she's helping you learn patience. I'm like, okay, maybe she is. Thank you, Miss Sophomore in high school, for teaching me what I should be learning. Go ahead, Courtney. You find the best graphics ever. I have to steal them all.
Okay, so final thoughts. I'm going to want to preface this really quick with, I am going to try to see if I can fix the videos a little bit and see if I can speed them up or something so that we can see so you guys can see the movements a little bit better. I don't know why they're coming through so jerky when we do this, but I will see what I can do before we post it to see what I can do with the videos. But final thoughts. One must always be careful of books and what is inside them, for words have the powers to change us. Cassandra Clare. And as a person who loves reading and just can get lost in books so easily and things like that, and again, growing up with a nonverbal sister and wanting to know what was going on inside of her head on a constant basis, words really do have the power. And again, seeing what our kids, I have been so blessed in what we're getting to hear what my kids have to say, and the funny things they say, and the things that crack me up, but then the things that are so serious. And one of my babies told me the other day, this is the second week in a row, she's been very dysregulated. She is not one of my dysregulated kids. She's usually smiley, happy, everything was great. And she looked at me and told me how frustrated she was. And I went through okay, let's go through the list. What are we frustrated about? Is it home? Is it, going through the list? Well, it was school. And she went to her activities page and went to on the school activities page and said, phonics, writing. And I said, yeah, that's what you do with Miss Courtney. And she got this big smile on her face. And then she went over and said, sticking, sitting, building blocks. And I said, I wonder if that's what you don't do that with me. Is that something you do at school? And immediate yes. So she's letting me know, she's pretty much telling on her teachers, that they're not doing the reading and writing with her. And so our girls and boys have the power. They have those words that can change what's happening in their world. Because let me tell you, I immediately looked at Mom and said, we need to be setting a meeting, and we will be having a meeting very shortly. And we will be talking about this because I don't want her hating school. She loves to learn. She's a smart little girl. I don't want her hating school because people are not doing what they're supposed to. So words really do have so much power. And I think for our kids, it's a place to take them. Those books take them to so many different places. So if you have any more questions.
There might be places that they can't physically get to.
Right.
That's the thing about it that's
Yes.
so important about reading. I mean, they may never be able to climb a mountain, but they can sure shoot and read a book about somebody climbing a mountain. There's just so much that books bring things to you. I mean, as a child, I was not raised in a wealthy family. We lived in a very blue-collar town, and reading to me was my way of learning about the world because I didn't really go out that much. So really made a big difference in my life.
Go ahead and put March 28th on your calendar. That's going to be our next web chat. We're going to be doing the Making Words assessment and how to look at that one. We sometimes come up with web chats in the middle of and the ones that we're doing. So, and then I will be very honest. We already know the April. We do not know the date for April, but we already know that April is going to be decoding in action. If you have any questions, please email either Susan or myself, Susan Norwell at rett-u.org or Courtney at gp2c.org. If you guys have any ideas, if you have things that you would like to see, please reach out and let us know. You can email me. And I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. Nobody's raising their hand, so I think everybody's good. If we have question, we have a question. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Rita.
You have to turn your talker on, your thing on.
Mike?
Yeah, there we go. We can hear you now.
That would be the
I just want to say thank you because my granddaughter is only 2.5. And the point you just made about going over the blocks, it makes me think that I'm doing the blocks and I'm doing the very basics, but I need to step it up and maybe do the reading with her. So even at her young age, I'm picking up on what you're saying for the older children so that she's not bored and hopefully give her that opportunity.
Rita,
Does
that's
that make
wonderful.
sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. So I start giving kids easy readers on their devices, on their eye gaze devices, so that they just learn to turn the page and look at words. It doesn't even matter to me if they're reading the words in the beginning, because I'm looking at my granddaughter who's 10 months old, and she's taking books and opening them and pointing to things, and I'm like, how do I do that for these kids that don't have this? And I just put them on their device and let them have at it, and just let them play with a book. It's so important.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe that's another webinar, playing with books before they read them. Oh my gosh, we're coming up with brilliant ideas. Rita, thank you. You're like inspirational.
Have a good evening. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else? Katie Gray, you have your mic on. Do you want to say something?
I got making words grades 1 to 3. Is that incorrect? I saw you said that you were looking at making.
So this is a later edition. This one here, that 1 to 3 one is a different edition. This is the latest edition. And so they have made some changes that I think are really helpful. The way they spell out the transfer is a little different. The way they have the scripting is a little different. I just got this off Amazon. So.
Miss Katie, when I come to Pennsylvania in a couple weeks and see Miss Kendall, I'll talk to her team about that and get that and work with that. And I also came up with an idea. Susan and I were just discussing an idea about how to help her with those bigger words as well. So we will make sure to handle that when I'm up there.
Okay. One other thing that I thought was really interesting, Susan, I'm glad you pointed out, the little girl who was always looking at the green smiling.
Yes.
I think my daughter is having an issue with yes, no. We've been through it and I've discussed look at me for yes or away for no. Mm-hmm. And she always wants to look at me.
Right. Yeah, I think kids are so social that unless you're asking them something like, do you want liver and onions for dinner? Like something they would absolutely hate, they will definitely look away for that. But when you're doing academics, I really think they need to have a yes, no there for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or else
So
I think it helps structure it.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that.
that.
Light bulb went off in my mind when you pointed that out. It's like, it's my fault. It's not hers.
Well, not your fault because you've got a yes no that you can use out in public, which is you don't have anything with you. She'll look to you for yes. And my guess is that she looks to you for agreement also and looks away for not agreeing. But when it comes to academics, I think because there's that anxiety kind of associated with a right wrong answer, that the yes no kind of helps because they can't just look at you. You can say, you know what, I love looking at you too, but right now for this kind of question, I need you to use your yes and your no.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that also what helps there is that really helps schools. You know, as much as I would like to wave a magic wand and take away their obsession with data, they have it. So I'm going to give them an easier way to get their data by having that yes, no be very clear and definable, because I don't want people undershooting my kids.
Exactly.
Neither do I want them thinking they know something that they don't, in all fairness, but I definitely don't want them doing brown bear when they're 16.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I have one other question. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I know
Question. We love questions.
on your boards you had like spaces for each letter.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Is that what you want to be doing? So if the word is thin, it's 4 spaces on there.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that wouldn't be what they would do with neurotypical kids, but I will tell you that I have to at some point give a little accommodation to the fact that our kids don't feel the sounds in their mouth.
No.
You know, if you ever say the word black, you barely hear the L in the auditory, but you feel your tongue move up.
Yep.
And when we take for granted those kinds of clues, we don't even think about them anymore because we're just so used to it. But if we could go back to when we were a beginning reader, we're going to realize we were using everything in our power to figure out what these sounds and letters were. And so I think by giving them the spaces, I do the same thing for I have a program I run out of my church, a tutoring program for kids that are struggling in school. And I have a little boy who's really got a significant auditory processing issue. And I give him spaces because without the spaces, he wouldn't be able to organize the auditory input.
Right.
And so I think it's an added bonus. And if I thought it was a crutch that they couldn't get rid of, I wouldn't do it, except that they're all right. When they are getting up to like that girl getting up to 72, the lesson and making words, the sentence she wrote last week was amazing. So I'm sticking with what's working.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks, Miss Katie. And we have one more question from Mel. She has, her daughter is 3, and she said, how do you introduce letters to them? Any resources I can look at? Mel, number 1, my email is Courtney@gp2c.org. Please email me, and I will send you a list of resources that we have free available on our website and some other things. But one of our favorite things to do with the kiddos right now is just have fun. There's a great website called Storybots that I know Susan and I both absolutely love, that does a great way of introducing the letters to our kiddos. I do scribbling with my littles, where I let them just pick any letter from the flip books, whether, whatever the letter they choose, and we go and listen to that. We put Storybots letter L, and if there's also cute little movies that go with the videos before the song that talk about the letter, the different letters and the different sounds it makes and things like that, and then the song. So depending on how much time we have is whether I'll listen to the story or just listen to the song, and just getting them involved in that really gets them going. And then as we move through books, I start pointing out different letters. I talk about letters. When I'm doing letters with our kiddos, I really kind of emphasize the mouth movement, because even though they can't feel it, they can watch me feel it. They can watch my mouth do it. And I've noticed that, you can kind of remind them that voice in your head is making their mouth really big for that sound, so getting them to kind of think about that. Liliana loves the Storybots, and she takes turns with Jonathan to play the videos and pick out letters. I love the Storybots. They're so much fun. But Mel, please email me and we can get you set up and get you some resources.
So maybe we should do a little webinar and talk about how to introduce sounds in books and things, just to kind of help people get started. Did we ever do one on print awareness? such a huge thing. I think we did. Maybe we should look back, or maybe we should do that again. But print awareness is what Courtney was talking about. It's just this real natural way of, like, when you're reading a book and, you know, it says a word maybe 3 times, like go, go, go. And you're like, oh my gosh, listen to that. Go, go, go. And you're pointing to the letter. There's this immense amount of research that says if you only do that like once or twice in a book, you can increase kids' print awareness by like this astronomical number. I was looking at the research going, man, this is the simplest, cheapest intervention I've ever seen in my entire life. Why aren't we teaching this to everybody? I don't know why we're not, but we are. We're trying to. But I think we did one on print awareness.
I'll look at our things. But it's interesting. I have a little one who is just 3, and she's on a device, and it is so funny to watch her as we're starting, like Susan said, that print awareness, and watching where her eyes are going, and watching where her I'm reading the sentences and where her eyes are going on the devices. We're talking about the story and things like that, watching her play with the books. And I'm not used to, I've always kind of worked with older kids. So to be with these littles and watch them, it's really kind of cool to watch them grow their learning and watch them grow that love and see that spark go off of, oh, wait a second, I've got some power here. So it's really cool. So we will definitely look into that.
We all appreciate you asking the questions and being here for your kids.
Yep.
Because sometimes you've heard from doctors, just go home and make them happy when you first get your diagnosis. And gosh, that couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, we all want our kids to be happy, but, we want our kids to be educated. And there's no reason for them not to be educated. We know way more now than when I started with my first kiddo with Rett. She's now 35. She was my breakthrough kiddo. She was misdiagnosed with autism. I know how to teach nonverbal kids with autism to read, so I did it. And when she had her late regression at 5.5 and knew sight words and could sound things out and was using symbols that she could look at, and then she got the chicken pox and started wringing her hands afterwards, I went, oh my gosh, she doesn't have autism. She has Rett. Sure enough, she does. She's had the genetic test. And I'm like waving my arms to the doctor's basically going, hey, wait a minute, we got something here that you're missing. You're missing the cognition. There's cognition in these girls and boys. They know, and we just have to figure out how to get it out. So thank you all for being here, for your kids, for your grandchildren, for your teachers, for your students. We're very, very grateful.
Yes.
So y'all have a nice evening. If you need anything, our emails are up there, and we're just happy that you're here.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Hey, Courtney, stand.
Okay. Hold them. Got a few more. There we go.
They're getting there.
They're getting there.
So,
Hold on, we got 2 more.
This was such a good group. And so did we get all those ideas written down? Because sometimes we're sitting there going, what are we going to do next? And now we got like 3 ideas from this one. So.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think for March and then April, I think we do the but I think maybe I'll go back and look in our list because I've started keeping a list of what we have and haven't done. And so I'll
look for
print awareness. I want to say we did a free one during COVID, but it was only like 20 minutes. So I think we could probably do a little bit more.
Okay.
And then I do want to I want to play with the videos a little bit and see if I can figure out. Yeah, they're very choppy when they come through.
Well, they're not choppy on my end. So I'm wondering if I shouldn't videotape them. I shouldn't be videotaping because they're coming across from me really fine. It's just as they go out there into space. But you're going to have, why don't I send you the PowerPoint back so you have the raw video?
Okay.
What you could do is you could run the PowerPoint and like link out to the video.
Right. Yeah, I want to play with that because and then maybe that's what we need to do then is have you record so that it's not coming across choppy because it's coming across on my end really choppy.
not be? Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's-
Yes, I'll record next.
That's okay.
Okay, so now we know. Now we know.
We know.
Okay.
It's a
All right.
learning experience.
I'll upload this to I'll upload it back up to my OneDrive right now. So
Okay.
you have it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.
Really quick, what's everybody's off? Are you heading to Iowa, or are we still in kind of?
Yeah, we're getting there. I think we might head there Thursday night if I can stay awake enough to drive the 4 hours after working till 5:15. We'll go there.
Okay.
The kids are crying in the day. It's just, I mean, it's ludicrous. Yeah, she's like, I said, you guys can just have a truce. Can you not be screaming until you get to your counseling?